A spellbinding winner, Céline Dion's origin story, a Bulgarian monarchist, and the first non-white singer. Let's talk about Eurovision 1964. Welcome to Eurovision Histories, where I watch old editions of Eurovision so you don't have to. However, in this case, I should say listen to old editions, as, like with the first edition, this is the only other one where no video recording is known to have survived. Rumor had it that a fire at the headquarters of Danish National Television was to blame for this. However, that doesn't seem to be the case, as the R has said recently that no recording of the show was actually made due to a lack of recording equipment. Really, Denmark? And now I've seen everything. There is a full audio recording by Danish radio, however, and my own theory is that as Denmark didn't participate in Eurovision from 1967 to 1978, someone at the archive might have thought that keeping a copy of Eurovision was not of the highest importance. In this episode, I will therefore use some other video material of some of the songs, and I'm very sorry to say that you will have to see this face more often than in other episodes. The 9th Eurovision Song Contest was held at the Tivoli in Copenhagen, the first time the event was held in Scandinavia. 5, 3, and 1 points were awarded by the juries. However, if they only had two favorites, the favorite would get 6 points, the second favorite 3 points, and if they agreed on one single song, that song would get 9 points. This was supposed to avoid any country getting 0 points. Not sure how, however, and in the end, 4 countries ended up without a single point yet again. Portugal debuted and Sweden had to withdraw due to an artist strike. Other than in 1961 when Spain debuted, there were actually protests against Portugal's participation this time. Portuguese dictator Salazar had established a Estado Nuevo in 1933 and would stay in power until the Carnation Revolution in 1974, in which a Eurovision song played an important role, but that's for another video. Before the Belgian performance, a man entered the stage with a banner saying "Boycott Franco and Salazar," and the camera swiftly turned to a still of the scoreboard. It may have worked, however, as Oração from Portugal was indeed boycotted and did not receive a single point, as did 3 other songs, Život je sklopio krug, For Yugoslavia was performed by Sabahudin Kurt, the first Muslim on a Eurovision stage. He did not get any points, just like Nova Nora, the first performer with Bulgarian roots representing Germany. Her Man gewöhnt sich so schnell an das Schöne. Man gewöhnt sich so schnell an das Schöne und dann kommt man davon nicht mehr los. Translates to, you get used so quickly to the beautiful things in life, and held the record for the longest title in Eurovision history until it was equaled by Le Dernier qui a parlé qui a raison, representing France in 1991, and then in 2012 Valentina Monetta snatched it from both of them with this monstrosity. Hello, never gonna let you go. Nora Nova's dad was in the regiment of the Bulgarian Tsar, and some of her family members were interned and executed after the regime change after World War II. In 1959, she emigrated to Germany and became a star there. After the fall of the Iron Curtain, she returned to Bulgaria and became a member of the party of the former Tsar. The 4th 0 points was for Switzerland. I miei pensieri started like Volare, but did not really continue like Volare, and was probably hurt by the fact that another song in Italian was a huge favorite that year. Hugues Auffray represented Luxembourg. He had become famous by singing French covers of Bob Dylan songs, and you can clearly hear the folk influences in his Eurovision song, which is probably why it's one of my favorites in 1964. Je cesse d'y rêver dès que le printemps s'en va. Dès que le printemps revient is a song about a spring love that doesn't quite work out, and it came shared fourth. One of his biggest hits, however, was called Céline, and it was especially popular in Quebec, where a certain Thérèse Dion heard the song while pregnant with her 14th child and named her daughter after it. Céline Dion would become one of the most successful artists coming from Eurovision, but that was still very much in the future. The Netherlands sent the first non-white singer to the contest. Anneke Grönloh had been born in the Dutch East Indies, what today is Indonesia. Her father was part of the Royal Dutch East Indies Army and was therefore interned by the Japanese during the war. Anneke was born and spent her first years in that camp and later emigrated to the Netherlands, becoming a star. Her song Brandit Sand is still one of the most successful songs in the Netherlands, and she was named Singer of the Century in 2000. Her Jij bent mijn leven
en dat je mij bedriegt, maar ik aanvaard het, want jij bent mijn leven.
only came 10th in Eurovision, however. Austria's Udo Jürgens started his Eurovision career with the melancholic Warum nur warum?
Warum nur? Warum blühen Blumen so schön? Oh.
In which he asks why flowers must die and why his lover turns her back on him. Maybe singing slightly less depressing songs might have helped Udo. Out of his 3 Eurovision attempts, this was his least successful, coming 6th. However, the song conquered the charts in an English version, Walk Away, performed by Munro, who represented the United Kingdom in 1964. The song became a top 5 hit in the United Kingdom and a top 30 hit in the United States. Munro has been described as one of the most underrated vocalists in the 1960s, but he still had a string of hits after the contest. In the contest, he represented the United Kingdom with the song I Love the Little Things and achieved another silver medal.
I love the little things you say, and I love the little things you do.
Finland sent the very cool and jazzy Laiskotellen by Lasse Martinsson, and until Kerdia smashed that record in 2023, this was the shared best result for a song in the Finnish language, coming 7th.
Kestää vain, siitä paljon saada voi, tyytyväinen laulu soi.
Romuald finished 3rd for Monaco with Où sont-elles passées?
Où sont-elles passées, celles qui m'ont fait croire à la belle histoire du fruit défendu.
He was apparently more addicted to song contests than I am, because he returned to Eurovision in 1969 for Luxembourg and 1974 for Monaco. In 1968, he represented Andorra at the International Music Festival in Rio de Janeiro and Luxembourg in Sopot. In 1973, he also represented his native France at Viña del Mar in Chile, coming 2nd. Los TNT for Spain were originally from Italy, but their family moved to Uruguay and they became famous in South America. You can hear the Latin influences in their song Caracola, which has rather boring verses but a rousing chorus. They received only 1 point from, you guessed it, Italy. The voting was rather uneventful, as the eventual winner took a commanding lead a few juries in, and the winner eventually had more points than places 5 to 16 combined and 3 times as many as second place. It was thus a resounding victory for Italy and 16-year-old Gigliola Cinquetti.
Per amarti non ho l'età, per uscire sola con te.
Her song Non ho l'età, in which she proclaims that she is not old enough to go out with the person desiring her alone, can be described with many adjectives: understated, spellbinding, beautiful, timeless, but none of them will really make it justice.
Lascia che io viva un amore romantico nella testa che venga quel giorno.
The audience at the Tivoli agreed and gave Gigliola a standing ovation. Depending on your perspective, you can interpret the lyrics as directed to a slightly creepy older man or as a beautiful profession of love by a young girl. I have decided on the latter because I really like this song. Gigliola was and remained the youngest winner of Eurovision ever until the less understated Sandra Kim won for Belgium in 1986. She recorded the song in English, Spanish, French, German, and Japanese, and it became a hit in several countries. It was covered countless times from Hong Kong to Iceland and the United States, and for reasons beyond my comprehension, the German version was called Luna nel Blu.
Ob mich liebt, oh Luna, Luna, nel blu.
Gigliola became somewhat of a manz of her time, and she competed again in 1974, coming second only to ABBA. She hosted the contest in 1991, and she returned in 2022 to the Turin edition and sang her winning song once again.
Non ho l'età, non ho l'età